Okay, so the first thing I want to cover here is the overview. This page has a ton of very critical, important information that's going to help us understand what is happening and what is moving with each of our clients or our competitors, that you can literally analyze anyone in here. You don't have to be working with them or have their back-end access. That's the magic of this tool. It's going to allow us to extract strategies. So let's go ahead and get started here. So the first thing that I'm always looking at with a new client or potentially an audit is going to be domain rating. So what is their overall backlink profile? There's a lot of other videos that we released earlier in this course that talk through about what that is and how that works. But really, I'm just trying to understand, what can they rank for and how really established are they? With organic muscle, where they're at with the 27, we can do so much there. There's not really any major barriers to entry. Yeah, it's going to take more groundwork, more elbow grease versus ranking versus a domain rating 50 site, but we can still do everything we need to do to be successful within that area. So cool. It's important to note first, my eyes always go there. Secondly, I don't really care as much about quantity of keywords and traffic. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I care about the trends and the traffic themselves and where is it going, what's the trend, because Google basically ranks sites almost like in succession. They're not just going to give you a massive amount of keywords and then take it away and vice versa. It's going to be a slow and steady build up. So understanding what the trend is, where is it going? Is it trending up with Google algorithm updates? Is it going down with Google algorithm updates? This is going to help you really understand what is working and what isn't. So there's a lot of options we can look at up here, but the main ones that I find the most important are a couple. Organic traffic up here, which is what I like to call quality of traffic, basically quality of SEO. Whereas down here, this is quantity of keywords. So quality up here, quantity down here. Both those metrics are super critical to kind of painting like a 3D picture of how things are going. This is an estimate. Organic traffic on Ahrefs is an estimate. I cannot say that enough. On SEMrush, on all the other SEO tools, it's the exact same. Unless you're looking at Google Analytics or Google Search Console, you're not going to have actual numbers. It is what it is. But this gives us a really good baseline, because how is this calculated? Organic traffic is basically calculated based on your positions. So if you have 10 keywords in the first position, then you're going to be getting a lion's share of that search demand. They basically pinned, that Ahrefs has pinned to that keyword, which Ahrefs is just buying the data from Google Keyword Planner and incorporating that into their system. So at the end of the day, it is an estimate, but it's actually, if you look at it from a trend perspective, it's actually quite accurate. And you can see that by actually removing the layers of the onion, like what I like to say, for these organic keywords. So for example, each of these lines in this layer represents different pages or layers of the onion. So 51 plus are keywords in the position 51 or higher, or basically like page 5 through page 10, basically. So we strip that down. So obviously right now we're seeing a lot of growth. So that's going to be growth on keywords that are basically ranking on maybe spot 51 or spot 72 or 89. This is going to be like a lot of new content or really high difficulty keywords where maybe we have just enough topical authority to rank for them and they're growing. I like to kind of call this like top of funnel traffic. This is traffic that isn't going to necessarily it's not going to really be traffic half the time, but it might, and it will definitely drop down. So a keyword that's on page 7 is eventually going to go to page 1, but it's going to slowly start transitioning down. So what I'm looking for are the trends across the board. So for example, we start stripping that down. Now we're on page 2 through 5. We're getting more reasonable here. Still showing massive growth. I love that velocity. That's what I'm looking for, is that crazy slope. Really important to note that this is very strong. This tells me that all of our SEO techniques are working very well for top of funnel level keywords. Whatever we're writing, it's working very, very well, especially coming off the back of a Google algorithm update, which you can actually layer that in right here. And so you basically click this and you can show that, and that's going to help you also illustrate if you know your strategies are working well post update. If they accelerate, boom, that's like you got blessed by Google. That's like showing that like what you're doing is working. So what you're cooking, Google likes it and they want more of it. So you keep giving them more. You don't have to alter your strategy too much. If anything, just turn up the volume because they love it. So that's pretty critical to state. But so that's working really well for top of funnel keywords. Let's keep stripping it back. So now we're on page 2 of Google, which again, that would be like if we Googled organic pre-workout, which is one of their keywords. And for them, they're actually on the first page right here, number 4. But this level of keyword, this 2 through 5, this would be if they're on pages 2 through 5, right? So that's basically what that means. Or position 20 through 50. So, and that would basically be where they show up down here. So pretty cool. We got organic muscle actually right there and popular products, which is not a sponsored link. Keep that in mind. That's awesome. Anyways, going back to our main page here. So again, 11 through 20, we're looking really strong. Page 2 keywords looking great. Page 1 keywords. This is where the graph is actually going to become very similar to this top graph up here. We're doing very, very well post Google algorithm update. But if you notice, this is interesting. Our 1 through 3 keywords are actually kind of down, which is interesting. So we'll take a look at what those are here in the kind of the next session, the next course about around the top pages and organic keywords. But this is how we can start to diagnose. So everything we're doing though is working really, really well, other than the 1 through 3 keywords. And that is probably coming off a product page, coming off something we can't control as much, but something to think about and look at. So we're going to take a look at that deeper and we're going to analyze that. But like, this is beautiful. This is telling me that everything across the board is moving the exact right direction. It's going right up and to the right, which is the move we want to make. And the angle of attack there is much higher than it has been previously. So the slope is getting higher and higher. It's getting bigger, which is what we want to see. We want more aggressive momentum and more keywords going up. And yes, because we did see that this was working well post-update, we turned up the volume. We went from like 15 pages a month to 50 pages a month with this client. So really important to note, like we talked about, the page could be anything. Could be a blog, could be a knowledge center, could be a shoppable article or a collection page. It could be variants of products. It could be so many different things. So just letting you know that this is how we're basically analyzing this every single week, every single month with the client involved to help explain what we're seeing in the trends and if we know it's working or not. Other thing I want to touch on is organic pages. I like this a lot. This tells us a lot about how Google's kind of viewing the site. We will randomly get big pops, and that's typically because of how Shopify works with their weird collection URLs and their structuring. But ultimately, like, I'm looking just for a solid trend going up. It means that Google overall is seeing that your traffic or that your pages you're creating are valuable. So they're continuing to keep them in their index. So in order to qualify as an organic page, the page must be 1, indexed, and 2, have at least 1 keyword on that page ranking for it. And that's when it's going to count as an organic page. So we're going to see this continue to go up as well too. There's a very good correlation between more pages being indexed and ranking, also with the more keywords being gained, and also most importantly with the organic traffic going up as these keywords drop down from page 5 to page 2 to page 1 to number 1 through 3. That's what we're going for. That's the main goal. So this is kind of what we look at in the overview. Everything else is mostly backlink related, and it's looking at different competitors based on your keywords. There is so much extra info here that we need to just dial it down and make it simple and look at the most important key metrics. So look at domain rating, but only usually one time. I'm not necessarily tracking domain rating growth every month. I don't care, to be honest. What I care about are these right here: quality of traffic and quantity of traffic. And then we basically use organic keywords and top pages and site structure to start diagnosing and looking at how this takes shape. So on to the next one.